My name is John Henry Smith, and I am a lead investigator of Project Wolf Paranormal. I was just interviewed by Keith Andrew, and I do a lot of paranormal work, demonology work, and I'm big into cryptozoology. I've got a couple of shows, podcasts, and I've been in this gig for just about 16 years now.
This is actor Joel El Nino Roman, and you are listening to Keith Andrew, who's all about inspiring others to chase their dreams and doing the impossible.
Today on the KeithAndrewNetWork, it's Season 9, Episode 808. Today we have professional actor Joel Roman, also professional ghost hunter John Wolf on the KeithAndrewNetWork. Be sure to like and subscribe to the KeithAndrewNetWork. Following's brought to you by HB Gibson, home of the X Zone. Get into the zone. Also, it's brought to you by Life of a Fighter. If you're into fitness, eating healthy, drinking healthy, definitely be Life of a Fighter. Make sure to like and subscribe to the KeithAndrewNetWork. We have brand new content coming every day. Thank you for liking, and as I always say, I'm going to start off with my catchphrase, and I will catch you later. What is the KeithAndrewNetWork? The whole point of my talk show is to show people that even with having a learning disability, I can still amount to something. And at the same time, I'm able to turn myself into an example for people out there dealing with any types of learning disabilities and disabilities to never give up and prove people wrong. Prove to them that labels do not dictate who you are and who you want to be. So prove to them that I'm out to something. With that being said, I'm going to start off with John. What can you tell us about yourself, and how did you start your career?
So I'm a paranormal investigator out of Connecticut, and pretty much I've always been interested in the supernatural, and I started off my career when I was 18, just out of high school. Got a group of friends together, and kind of what started off as just a hobby eventually branched out into becoming something that I dove so far into that it's now just been like a part of my life. You know, it's everywhere when I wake up every day. You know, this is just kind of what I do. Even if I'm not doing it, I'm always thinking about it and trying to further it in some type of way. So
Yeah, absolutely. What about you, Joel?
As far as, can you repeat the question?
What can you tell our audience a little bit about yourself?
Okay, awesome. Well, my name is Joel Roman. I go by El Nino. I've been an actor for 21 years, done stuff, TV shows, plays, and movies in New York, Hollywood. I'm also from Connecticut, John. Yeah, we're from Connecticut. Are you, John?
East Lyme.
East Lyme, okay. I'm from Bridgeport.
Nice,
all right. Nice. So I'll be doing that. I also teach acting classes in person and via Zoom. And I'm all about inspiring people with great messages in my content and just pushing them to dream big and do the impossible. Like you, Keith, you're doing the impossible.
No, absolutely.
Yes.
So, because you're an actor, I'm going to ask you the first question. What is the biggest change you made in your acting career?
The biggest change I made in my acting career?
Yes.
Wow. The biggest change I made in my acting career, I've had to say, go with my instinct. Sometimes in this field, I've been in this field for a long time. When I first started in this field, I was always trying to make people happy by thinking how they saw a role. Like I'd be like, "Ooh, they might see a role this way. Let me try that way." Instead of, as the years went by, say, "You know what? This is how I see the role," and either you're gonna like it or not, and then give me adjustments, and I can be flexible with it. And yeah, so I've learned how to be able to just, and this is what I teach my students now, to grab a role by the horn and just roll with it. Don't try to figure out how people see the character, like casting directors, agents, or managers, but how you see the character. And then commit 100%, and then just be ready to take notes and be flexible if they see the role differently.
No, I agree. It's always good to think outside the box. And if you're interested, maybe I can be a guest on one of your classes and talk to your class and share my story, do a Q&A.
That's awesome.
Now, John, the next one I want to ask you is what inspired you to be a ghost hunter?
So like I said, growing up, man, I've always felt there's some other things out there, but never fully witnessed anything. So I was a bit of a skeptic always growing up. Had an experience at 16 that kind of changed that. And ever since then, I was like, all right, that's it. I want to find answers to this. I want to find out if it's bullshit or if it's fact. So pretty much I went in and did everything. And that led me to do a lot of other different styles of investigations that most people haven't. I mean, I've done shit where I've dived into things that people said, oh no, don't do. Like, oh, don't use Ouija boards. Oh, fuck that. I went out and used Ouija boards in haunted places. I've done rituals and certain things, just trying to bring it about, knowing the consequences behind it. Still did it. Definitely had gotten some things happening from that. One incident kind of happened that was extremely huge that caused me to take a break for a minute and just kind of check my studies and figure out how to prevent that shit from happening again. So I did that for a while and then I came back, man. And ever since then, it's just everything's been picking up really, really quickly. And I couldn't be happier with it.
Oh, yeah. You know, I used to watch ghost hunters and I found it very interesting. But Alcatraz actually went back to the Civil War.
Yep.
And there was another one too. But let me ask you this. A lot of people you mentioned a question about the Titanic.
Yep.
Well, let me ask you these two questions. A lot of people think it's stupid on my part, but I ask a lot of stupid questions. Do you think that the whole area of World Trade Towers, do you think that area is haunted?
Of the World Trade Centers? Hands down. Oh, yeah. Yep.
So would you think that would be a good episode for you just to go and see?
That would be a good one, because not only would it be the ground itself, but the building that stands there now would also be haunted. You know, that would also have the remnants of people. And I'm pretty sure there might be stories that people just haven't talked about, but I'm pretty sure there could be things like that. I imagine maybe seeing a phantom person maybe falling from a window one time, or maybe seeing somebody who appears to be a worker, but you've never seen that person before, kind of just wandering in areas that aren't really occupied anymore, or whatever the case may be. But I'm pretty sure there's definitely things like that going on. Just like with the whole coronavirus, the spike in paranormal activity, I'm sure, has been going up because there's been a lot of death, a lot of untimely death, people dying alone. So it's, yeah, definitely, hands down, World Trade Center and a lot of other places nowadays, I can guarantee you, are a lot more haunted than what they ever were.
Oh, absolutely. Joel, what do you think about it?
As far as,
do you think the World Trade Towers are probably haunted?
the question that you asked him. You know what? I think so. I believe possibly yes. I mean, I agree with John. You know, I strongly feel there's a lot of spirits, you know, walking the earth wherever we're at. You know, yeah, some good, some evil, and you know, they could be right near us right now as we're having our interview. You know, so yeah, I agree.
You know, there's a favorite picture I'll share in the video. You know, if I'm able to, probably I just need to find it. I bought a WCW belt because I always bought, you know, big wrestling fan. You know, it's a WWF belt. I was like, I want the big gold belt. And there's a special effect. I think it's called a negative effect, where your face is white and it turns to black, or it turns to blue. And if I turns it like, I can't think of the correct term. You know what the fact I'm talking about? It's like this, but you turn it and you see stuff, but you can't see with your naked eye. So I remember I'm standing like this, holding the belt, and my cat's on the floor. He was white, and he turned into a negative color. And I noticed in the background of this side of the room is where my desk was and my bed, and there's two people sitting there. And I didn't see it when I took the picture. It was only after when I did the negative effect. I'm like, who the hell is that? I'm in the room by myself, but there's two people sitting on the bed. And I was like, well, I guess it's my grandparents kind of saying, well, if he's got to do something stupid, might as well be part of the picture. But yeah, I believe in the life after death. And that's the next question I want to ask you guys. When I was younger, I heard a loud noise, a house shook and vibrated. I was banging at it's only me and my brother in the house. I was pounding at the door, come out, come out. Do you hear the noise? What noise? But it was so freaking loud. Everything in the house was shaking and vibrating. It sounded like an airplane hitting about to hit the ground. Another time, when my sister moved out, I moved into her room because it was an empty room. I was in the room completely by myself. And how I know is I locked the door. And the reason I go to sleep with a night mask is because since that day, I don't want to see shit when I'm trying to go to sleep. So it was about like 11:30. Whole freaking room lit up. I put my hands over my eyes. I saw it. I put my face in the pillow, the blanket, and on my face. I'm like, this is ridiculous. What the hell is it? Imagine staring at a LED light, and that's how bright it is. So I went like this, and I swear to God, it felt like I actually elbowed somebody. I'm like, all right, I'm getting the hell out of here.
Yeah.
So, I do have experiences like that. But, Joel, I'm going to ask you, then I asked John the same question, because I want this to be more interactive, is do you guys believe in John Edwards? Not the guy who had an affair, not that guy, but the guy who talks to loved ones. Do you guys believe in, life after death?
You know what? I'm sorry, me or John first? I'm sorry, I don't want to.
Whoever wants to go first.
I'll take this one. I believe now. When you say life after death, can you elaborate? Like, as far as what, like heaven, hell, or no, or just people just walking the earth?
Well, both. Do you believe that? I believe there's a next step of life after this. Yes, I do believe in heaven and hell. If you're a horrible person, you gotta be 6 feet under, burning for eternity. But I don't think this is it and game over. John Edwards is like, for an example, we'd be sitting together if you guys ever want to hang out. And he's like, oh, I see in this audience, someone's name starts with a B. And he doesn't pinpoint on the first name, last name. He would say, the oxymoron is like, did someone die from cancer? Did someone die from an overdose? So he would ask questions, then people would stand up and be like, yes, this is this person. I'm not talking about you. I'm talking to the person next to you. I give you an example of it's not really a funny story in a sick kind of way. It is kind of funny. There was this accident at John Edwards. He's like, not actually at the show, it's a story. And he's like, I see 2 people playing with a gun. And the gun accidentally went off. And the guy stood up. It's like, yes, my cousin and his friend were playing with the gun and it actually went off. Well, your cousin's here with me right now. Before he said that, but I don't want to talk about it. My mother's here and it's a very touchy subject. Okay, all I'm going to tell you is I want to talk to you after the show. And your cousin's here with me right now. And he wants me to tell you that the police officers covered it up and it was not an accident. During the commercial break, when John Edwards says, I want to talk to you guys off the air, they got up and left. They never came back for the rest of the show. Now, either that he has people in the audience that they're plants, like Bill Maher has people in the audience, and, Bill Maher and all those. But how would you know exact details like that? And their reaction was like, that's it, I don't want to come back. Do you think that there were people planned, or do you think things like that actually do happen?
I mean, I think things like that do happen, but as far as people like that, I've never believed not a damn word they say, because dude, all they're doing is simply asking questions that anybody. All right, I could probably name a few people that I know whose name starts with a B. You know what I mean? It's random questions that somebody's gonna know, and believe it or not, you end up telling him the answer. You know what I mean? That's usually how it goes. So I don't believe, honestly, any of those guys at all. You know, to me, if you want to prove to me that you're somebody who is a psychic or has psychic abilities, I would need you to tell me something. There's no way you would have known that.
Mm-hmm.
I've never talked to you before. You know what I mean? That's how you're going to get my interest. But honestly, I have never seen that yet. Maybe like once I've seen something that made me think, okay, maybe this person has it. But for the most part, nah, man, everything else has just been stupid. They ask you questions that you end up giving the answer to, and then they make it seem like they're actually seeing something. So I usually don't fall for any of that stuff at all.
What about you, Joel?
You know what? I gotta agree with John. You know, you gotta tell me something that nobody else knows. You know, because I'm a Christian and I believe in life after death. You know, as far as you're gonna either go to heaven or hell, and that's where you'll be eternity. So I do believe there are people with special gifts that can see into the future. But those people, you gotta tell. I mean, for me to say that you're one. You gotta tell me something like John says. Nobody else will know. You can't just go on a whim and be coincidental. Yeah. I know, and it's funny because when I was younger, a woman told me something that was gonna happen to me in the future, and it happened. And she actually had that gift. I didn't see it, but she said, "Joe, you're gonna come into something that's gonna be more than you can handle at the moment." And and the thing is, this was no random lady. I worked with her for years. I trust her, so it was no stranger. I didn't give her no money. She got a feeling. She had a vision. She said, "I got to share this with you," and she shared it. And then the next day, she had a dream about how I felt, and I said, "Oh my goodness!" How in my head, I'm like, "You just told me how I felt when I was told about that dream," and I didn't share with her how I felt. So it was a beautiful thing. Only time I ever experienced that. And like I said, it was from someone I trusted and I call a friend.
Oh, absolutely. Now,
so she had nothing to gain by it, yeah.
I didn't mean to interrupt. I apologize.
No, it's okay. So yeah, so she had nothing to gain by that, by just sharing, and actually gave me peace, because when I was younger, I was the type of kid that I always wanted to look into the future. And I ain't gonna lie, I even visited some psychics in New York just because I was that curious. Like, what does my future hold? My early 20s. And so, it was one of those things where when she actually came up to me, and I didn't know she had this gift until she told me. And I'm like, oh my goodness. And, it was true. So it was a beautiful thing. And, people like that, it's a gift. And I believe in those people. Super. I believe we all have supernatural gifts, and we just have to tap into them. But like I said, you got to know it.
Absolutely. I have two more questions. I'll pass it over to you guys. Thinking you guys can ask me anything. You guys have questions. But John, going back to the question you said last night about the Titanic being haunted. First off, it's almost 200 years. Mm-hmm. Why would they still haunt the same area? And, that area where the ship went down, of course, that's obviously a graveyard. And when people still travel through it, the radios get staticky and all that interference.
Nope.
Do you think that it's kind of their job that they need to remind people, or do you think they're just stuck there?
No, so basically they're stuck, and that's why you have haunted buildings, haunted places, haunted areas, because they're stuck to that tragedy that had happened there. And that's the whole reason on why they haunt. And it's either because they're still attached to that place, they don't know how to leave that place, they chose not to leave that place, or they want to try to tell other people kind of what happened here. It could be something that maybe was like a cover up, or maybe people just don't truly know what had happened. So now they're going to try to communicate, you know, as best as they can to try to get people to know and understand what happened. So as far as a spirit being able to go somewhere else just because it's bored or whatever with an area, no, they can't do that. What they could do is they can attach to people. So if that people were going through and they managed to somehow maybe get aboard a ship or whatever, which is referencing the Titanic, then yeah, they could maybe find somebody who they are attached to and stick with that person. So now that person's kind of being haunted and they kind of carry that spirit with them, and that spirit could either go back home and stay with them, or that spirit could maybe on that travel be like, oh wait, this person seems maybe a little bit better, and then we'll go attach to that person, and so forth and so on. So that's how they would be able to spread to different places. But other than that, they're usually stuck where they're at. You know, that's why they repeat what had happened. So say you see like a phantom car with a crash that happened, you're going to see the car, you can see the crash. It's going to keep doing that loop cycle over and over and over again until something either intervenes with that and tries to fix it, change it, or until that entity just decides to move on. But usually when you have things like that happening, they don't usually move on. It's very hard for them to. They're stuck here for a reason. It would take somebody like me to have to come in there and kind of cleanse them out to get them to cross over.
Well, the last question I want to ask is, have you ever had an experience dealing with spirits where they kind of came back with you to like your apartment or house and you're like, you know what, shit, I wish I never really done that?
I mean, kind of like yes and no. I mean, I have my entire house protected. Behind me, I actually have objects that I've collected on a few different jobs that have things attached to them. The really bad ones are locked in these glass cases here. But as far as things really coming into my house from investigations, no, not me. I've had it happen to a teammate of mine. But other than that, no, I try to keep everything pretty much locked down. And after an incident that happened 10 years ago, I definitely keep everything a lot more protected on like a whole nother level. So I probably got about like 3 different religions that I've used protection spells and shit like that to protect everything. So I'm pretty locked up.
What about you, Joel? Do you have any opinion?
Opinion? You said opinion?
Yes.
On what?
Like everything that John just said.
I mean, you know what? I believe the paranormal is real. So, you know, may the spirits be with you, brother. Protect you. Because, you know, even in Connecticut, I mean, they made movies about that, you know, of real stories. So, yeah, you know, I mean, the spirit world is real. And a lot of people don't believe in that. And then they wonder why things happen. And, you know, the way I feel, the spirit world is more real than what we see.
Yep.
And if not aware of it, it can control your life, destroy your life. Like John said, I believe that. I believe spirits look for hosts. And if you're a weak-minded person and you don't have no faith, it can easily get in you and have you act a certain way, behave a certain way. And, you know, I mean, exorcisms are real, you know. You need a spirit for that to happen, you know. So, yes, I agree with John. So, John, what you're doing, be safe out there, brother, because that's no joke. The spiritual world is no joke. So, you know, someone got to do it. So, more power to you.
Last question I want to ask both of you is, what is the difference between, you know, believing in spirits and, say, for an example, alien life in space? Because there is life in space.
That's a good question. So they go hand in hand, but they're different, if that makes any sense at all. A lot of people think if you think aliens are real, you pretty much don't think God is real. And I ask people all the time, explain that. And their first thing they go to is they say, well, in the Bible, talks about God making us in his image. And I go, yeah, us. This planet that he created, he made us in his image. I said, now you have an almighty creator. You really think he's just going to stop with planet Earth? No, he's going to make other things in different images, in different forms that are probably, going to be more intelligent than us in ways, have maybe different resources than what we have. They're going to find ways to travel. Now, is that planned? No. But part of what and who God is God is somebody who makes all these worlds and now just just going to see what happens. He gave us, the religions and all that stuff for us to go over and for us to decipher what we think is right and what's, not right. We don't know. None of it could be right. One of them could be right. They all could be right. We have no idea. You know what I mean? But that's how I feel about that whole aspect is there's definitely life out there that was created by another higher power. And they're here. And they could have also been depicted as gods at one point, too. They could have been depicted as archangels at one time, too. Because they could have came back in the day, traveled here, helped us build the pyramids and all that shit, and went back. And we just, looked at them as gods. Same with the Romans and the Aztecs and all them. They see these. If you look at all their writings, they depict multiple gods that have come from skies and all this other crazy shit. And it all literally is tying up with aliens. But on the flip side, could also be tying in with religion. Could be angels too that have come down and did that. And then maybe we're thinking that the angels are actually extraterrestrials, but we're not. So you can see how no matter how you look at it, that story could just go either way. And that's what the whole, I think, beauty of that is that not knowing, but also trying to go out there and find answers to it,
Absolutely. Now we're going over the limit, but Joel, I want you to answer. I have your opinion.
As far as aliens, I don't know if there's aliens, but I do believe if those planets, I believe there is life. Now, what type of life is on the planets? I don't know. Could it be aliens? Maybe. I mean, I don't know. But I strongly believe there is something out there. I mean, there's how many planets we got? 7?
Yes. Yep.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's like, there's something out there. And I believe they already discovered it. It's just the world don't know. But I bet the government knows.
Oh, they know.
Yep. So I do. So was your question was, how do I feel with aliens and religion? Was that the question?
Yes.
As far as they go hand in hand?
Well, your honest opinion. But yeah.
My honest opinion as far as aliens and religion? Well, religion can destroy people. And it's sad. Because God wants relationship, not religion. And I think sometimes people use religion for their own benefit. And religion has actually pushed many people away from God. Laws and things like that. And I know people like that. So as far as religion goes, I'm all about having a relationship with God. And by having that relationship with God, it'll come across your relationship with people. And help you learn the scriptures and the word of God better and apply better to your life so you can see things change. And with aliens and stuff like that, like I said, if that's what they want to call it, I guess. But like, I really believe there's something out there. Star Trek. So it could be aliens, it could be something else. But I do believe there's life out there. I mean, there's too many planets out there for not to be other life than us. And we serve a creative God. So, I mean, I believe there's something out there.
I agree. Every time they say, like for NASA, or like they're showing you something in space, or we have interference right now, they're pretty much turning off the camera. They don't want to show you what they want to see.
Exactly.
And I don't know if you guys remember the story about wrapping up. The astronaut that magically disappeared, killed or whatever. She saw something she wasn't supposed to, and her last transmission was, "Oh my God, we have to warn the Earth." And then all of a sudden, she magically does, she vanishes.
Mhm.
Yeah, there's secrets. There's secrets.
Oh yeah.
You know, so definitely. So, you know, it's one of those things. But can I plug my gigs, my films real
Yeah,
quick?
absolutely.
Awesome. All right, everybody, Keith Andrew Network fans. Just let you know, I have a sitcom right now on Amazon Prime called Quarantine. It is doing great. Please go there and watch and leave a review. Also, today I have another film that's debuting on Amazon Prime called Natalie's Abortion. So please go see the film, leave a review. Yeah, and I have another one on there called The Curse of Eve. Leave a review, show some love, and thank you all for your support. And Keith, sorry. Thank you for having me on your show. I really appreciate it. It's been a blast.
Yeah, absolutely, John. Well, I do have a question for both of you off here, but John, do you want to plug your social media?
I do, yeah. So check me out on Facebook, John Project Wolf, and my other page, Project Wolf Paranormal. That's usually the one where I do all the ghost stuff. The other one's a little bit more personal. And then I do my podcast, Project Wolf Files. That can be found on any podcasting platform. And then I've got a show coming out at the end of this month on YouTube. So definitely follow Project Wolf Paranormal on there. Make sure to subscribe.
Awesome. I'm going out there. I'm going on there, John. I'm looking you up right after the show. Yeah, check me out at www.actorjoelroman.com and on Facebook, Joel Roman 2, everybody.
I just want to say thank you for your time.